Hi everyone! Today we will be discussing Two Kinds. Two Kinds is a novel written by Amy Tan. So let's start with some pieces of information about Amy Tan. Amy Tan is an American writer whose works explore mother-daughter relationships and the Chinese American experience. Her novel, The Joy Luck Club, was adapted into a film in 1993. Sometimes it can be difficult to deal with parents. The expectations they have for their children are often very high, and children don't always want the lives their parents dream for them. Born to Chinese immigrant in the United States, Amy Tan had a busy life childhood. Her parents expected her to achieve great things, while Amy Tan's own dream was to be an artist. She put aside that dream to study and work until she was much older. Her stories are based on her life and highlight the difficulties of growing up with her mother. Two Kinds take place among Chinese immigrants in San Francisco. The story begins with the mother, Mrs. Wu, having a dream for her daughter, Jemmy. She has a dream for her daughter to be or to help her to be a prodigy. By reading the first paragraph, we will find that the theme of the American dream is very clear. So let's see it. My mother believed you could be anything you want to be in America. You could open a restaurant, you could work for the government and get good retirement, you could buy a house with almost no money down, you could become rich. You could become instantly famous. So, as we said, the idea of the American dream or the theme of the American dream is very prominent in the first paragraph. As Mrs. Wu wants her daughter to be a prodigy, she had some trials. The first trial was to make her like Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple is an American actress, and she wanted her daughter to be like her. She wanted her daughter to be the Chinese Shirley Temple. But unfortunately, when she cut her hair, or when she got her haircut like Shirley Temple, it became like Peter Pan. So she failed in being Shirley Temple, even if she joined a school for training later on. But what about Jemmy's feeling towards being an actress like Shirley Temple? Well, at first, she was as excited as her mother. But when she failed to be that one, when she failed to be a good actress, her mother decided to bring her or to have another trial, which is bringing her some magazines for prodigy children. And she used to have tests every day. But unfortunately, again, she feels like the first trial when she tried to be an actress. So this time as well, she fails to be to achieve well in many of the tests that her mother gave her. By reading these two lines, we will find that they are significant. But why? Let's read them, then we're going to discuss them. And after seeing my mother's disappointed face once again, something inside me began to die. Here, we consider these words are significant as starting from this point on, Jemmy started to lose hope, started to lose excitement, started to act, yes, she continued acting and having the tests, but listlessly, means without excitement. So simply, these lines or these words are significant because they could be considered a turning point. Like Jimmy, her mother started to be disappointed and stopped trying making her that talented person. Till she was watching the TV one day and she saw a young girl playing the piano. At that time, she came upon the answer: yes, Jimmy will be a piano virtuoso. Mrs. Wu trades house cleaning services for Jimmy's piano lessons from Mr. Chong, an elderly piano teacher who is deaf and whose eyes are too weak to tell when Jimmy is playing the wrong notes. Mr. Chong's efforts are so sincere that Jimmy picks up the basics, but she's so determined not to cooperate that she plays very badly. Let's read this part as it could be significant. In this part, Jimmy shouts at her mother as she thinks that her mother doesn't accept her as she is. Let's read. Why don't you like me the way I am? I am not a genius. I can't play the piano, and even if I could, I wouldn't go on TV if you paid me $1 million. I cried. My mother slapped me. Who asked you be genius? She shouted. Only ask you be your best, for your sake. You think I want you to be genius? Huh, what for? Who asked you? So guys, what could be the theme here? What could be the idea here? Here we have another idea, which is mother-daughter relationship. This part reflects mother-daughter relationship. A few weeks later, Jimmy participates in a talent show in the church hall. All the couples from the Joy Luck Club come to her piano debut. Although she hasn't practiced and doesn't know the music, Jimmy has become to believe that she's indeed a prodigy. Halfway through the song, though, she begins to realize how badly she's playing. The weak applause and her parents' disappointed looks reveal the unmistakable truth. Jimmy isn't a musical prodigy. As a result, Jimmy is shocked when her mother expects her to continue practicing. During the ensuing carol, Jimmy shouts the most hateful thing she can summon. I wish I'd never been born. I wish I were dead, like them. At the mention of the twin daughters in China that she was forced to abandon years ago, Mrs. Wu suddenly retreats and never mentions the piano again. As a result, Jimmy is shocked when her mother offers her the piano at the 30th birthday present. Only after her mother's death, Jimmy could accept the piano. As she's packing her mother's things, she sits down to play the piano for the first time in many years. While playing the piano, she looked at the pieces that she was supposed to play at the talent show. She noticed that the piece on the right side of the page was called Perfectly Contented. On the other side was the piece that she attempted, Pleading Child. She realizes that the two pieces are two parts of the same song. The song symbolically represents Jimmy's life. If only her mother were there, she would tell her what she had learned. So simply we can compare her early childhood or her childhood to the first part or to one of the parts of the song, which is Pleading Child, as she used to fight her mother for years. But after the age of 30s and after her mother's death, she changed, and at that time we can consider her, or we can express about this part or express about this change by comparing it to Perfectly Contented. We've discussed the novel, and now we're going to discuss the targeted words. And the first word that we have is prodigy. Prodigy is a synonym for genius. The opposite is normality. It means a young person with special talents and skills. An example for this could be the high school boy was considered a prodigy when he won the national chess champion. The second word that we have is reproach. Reproach. Reproach means a disapproval or criticism. So it's a synonym for disapproval. Sometimes the meaning could be a synonym, or actually the meaning is a synonym for the word in case it's a single word. The opposite is approval. Approval. An example for this could be he argued the reproached were unfair. Then we have abundance. Abundance. Abundance is a synonym for plenty, and the opposite is lack. It means a large quantity or amount. For example, the country has an abundance of sunflowers. The following word is listlessly. Listlessly. Listlessly means without excitement. It's a synonym for lazily. The opposite is hurriedly. An example for this: I hang out with my family listlessly as I was very sleepy. Rhythm. Rhythm means a steady pattern of sound. It's a synonym for meter. The opposite is incoordination. An example for this: drums are basic to African rhythm. Conspired. Conspired. Conspired means to make a secret plan. It's a synonym for operate. The opposite could be neglect. An example for this: all the six men admitted conspiring to steal the car. The following word is memorize. Memorize. Memorize means to learn and repeat without mistake. A synonym for store. The opposite is forget. An example for this: I think I'm ready for the quiz. I memorized all the related parts. Asserting. Asserting means acting in a stubborn or strong-willed way. Synonym for stress and opposite for hide. An example for this: he's speaking up and asserting himself confidently. Inevitable. Inevitable means certain to happen. It's a synonym for sure, opposite for doubtful. An example for this: it was inevitable that there would be job losses. And now we've reached the end of the presentation. We've covered the background information, the themes, and the plot. We've discussed the plot or the events of the story. We've also covered and discussed the targeted vocabulary. Wish you best of luck.